Hey everyone, it's Hilary Topper here, and you've signed into Wearable on Air. And today we have a special guest. I'm really excited to have her join us. Her name is Myriam Joire, and she's with Pebble, the Pebble Watch Company. And I've actually got my Pebble Watch on. I'm very excited that she's here because I love the product. And welcome to the show, Myriam.
Thanks, Hilary. I'm glad to be here. It's going to be fun.
So tell me a little bit about, how did these smartwatches get started? Where did they come from? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So the history is kind of pretty simple. My boss, our CEO, Eric Majikowski, was doing a co-op in the Netherlands at the time, around the time the iPhone came out, and he just bought a brand new iPhone. He was riding his bicycle a lot, as you can imagine. In the Netherlands, it's a pretty popular activity, and he was constantly worried that he was going to drop his phone while biking, right? Because he was getting notifications on his phone, like text messages and phone calls, and he wanted to see them, and so he's like, I need to make a bike computer, something I can put on my handlebars that'll show me my notifications, and that's kind of like the idea, the seed, and then of course, then it turned into the idea of like, what, instead of strapping it to the handlebars, why don't I strap it to my wrist, right? And so then the concept of a smartwatch has been around for a while, but I think he kind of accidentally ended up creating a smartwatch to solve a problem that he had. That was, really about, it made much more sense to just, take it away from the bicycle and put it on his body, right? So he went back to Canada, where he's from, Waterloo, University of Waterloo, and decided to start, working on this project as part of his university studies. And he went ahead and built a prototype using, I think, Arduino and an old cell phone display from a Nokia phone, and he made it work. And using Bluetooth, connecting to your phone, and I some of these details are ones you should probably ask Eric directly sometime, because it gets a little hazy for me at that point. But at some point along the way, he got some, he got involved with BlackBerry, the company used to be called RIM in Waterloo, that the phone manufacturer, and started basically, like, the goal was to make this device talk with BlackBerry, because at the time it was really hard to make it work with iPhone. iPhone wasn't open yet like it is today to apps and to doing Bluetooth as easily as it is today. So BlackBerry was kind of easy. They had people on site, and he could get. So he did a BlackBerry. He actually commercialized a watch called Impulse, which was a BlackBerry product initially. Somewhere along the way, he moved to Silicon Valley. He got involved with Y Combinator. So he made about 1,000 of these watches. They're made here in the Bay Area, and called Impulse. And that by the time it kind of started getting traction, it was kind of starting to be an older product that needed some updates. And he also managed to make it Android compatible. And when I say he at this point, it's him and a few friends, a team of engineers. Very small little kind of startup environment. So, after having this product out, they decided that, he and his friends decided maybe we should just, kind of revisit this from scratch now that Android supports Bluetooth, iOS supports Bluetooth, and we have an opportunity. We've learned a lot of lessons from our first thing. Let's do this a second time. And so this is probably where the history becomes familiar to all your listeners. And this is the Kickstarter history, all right? So he decided that he couldn't, like, people in the VC world at the time were very shy about funding something that felt like a Dick Tracy, crazy story, product. So the smartwatch at the time was like pie in the sky. Of course, one day we'll have a smartwatch, but it's not a viable product. We don't really want to fund that. Where's the market for it? So he said, you know what, crowdfunding is a big thing. I'm going to go ahead and do a Kickstarter on that. And I technically got involved. I mean, you have to understand my background. I was a journalist for Engadget, the big gadget blog, doing phone reviews and managing all the mobile stuff for the blog. And so I came. I kind of got involved. I got to meet Eric when he gave me an Impulse to review for Engadget, so the original watch, and I did that. And so we had a relationship at that point. And he approached me for the Kickstarter campaign and said, Myriam, you work for Engadget. You guys have a lot of readership, and we have this fantastic new idea for a watch, and we're going to try to do a Kickstarter. But would you be interested? And at the time, Kickstarter was a big deal. A lot of interesting little things were getting funded. So I decided to, yeah, of course I'll look at it. That's my job, is to find great stories. So he showed me a prototype, 3D printed, of the Pebble you're wearing, a little breadboard, electronic. Circuit board running the software, and a MacBook, with the video for the Kickstarter. You can still see it at Kickstarter.com. And he showed me all that, and I was blown away. I was like, this is a very polished, design. The software works really well. It looks beautiful, and they have a great Kickstarter video. I think it's going to be a successful Kickstarter. I had no idea it was going to be as successful as it ended up being. So I wrote a story, and they were going to go live with their Kickstarter at something like midnight. I said, guys, that's a bad time of day to get a story out there. People are asleep, So how about we do it like 6 a.m. Eastern time? That's good. Like, people get up, they, grab their laptop or phone, get on the subway, and they're going to read it, and they're going to say, oh, look at this cool product, and then they're going to want to buy it. It's a better timing than midnight. So I convinced them to do it a little later. I myself wrote the story, timed it up in our Engadget site, and went to bed. And then I woke up like around what would be like noonish time Eastern, because I'm in San Francisco here in Pacific time. And lo and behold, like, they were trying to make 1,000 watches, raised $100,000, and by the time I woke up, they had reached $1 million. And then within 30 days, they'd reached $10 million. So pretty crazy stuff, right? And yeah, so in a nutshell, that's kind of the story. And from then on, this got the attention of all the tech blogs, and I kind of think of them as myself as patient zero for telling this story. So, and then it kind of grew into a genuine product. The Kickstarter went live. I woke up. $1 million, insanity. In 30 days, it made $10 million. And needless to say, after that, smartwatches became important. So, and so I was basically the kind of the patient zero, the first, the first person to write about it and really get significant traction for the company. And as such, I built a good relationship between me and Eric, obviously. And so the product took a year to launch. So this was 2012. February, March 2012 was a Kickstarter. In 2013 at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show in January in Las Vegas, Eric and his team launched the actual product, fulfilled their insane at this point, not 1,000, but something like 90,000 watches that had been ordered by various backers. A big feat, very, very difficult challenge to scale your manufacturing from, oh, we're just going to make 1,000 products to we're going to make, hundreds of thousands almost. So they succeeded in making that happen. I was actually one of the reporters who got my hands on the first watch at CES and showed it to the world. And, the next thing you know, last July around this time, I guess, now it's August, but about a year ago, Eric approached me and said, you want to join the company? So,
one of the questions I had for you is why do you think this campaign was so successful? There are so many of these wearable products now on the market trying to launch on Kickstarter or Indiegogo or any of these other crowdfunding sources. Why do you think that Pebble was able to reach their numbers, and what advice would you give to someone starting a Kickstarter campaign?
So I think, unfortunately, the crowdfunding rush is kind of over. I think that it was a perfect storm. I mean, if in 2012, if you were going to fund, this could be argued because there is currently a Kickstarter called, or maybe it's an Indiegogo, I can't remember, called Coolest, which is a cooler that's almost raised as much as we have. I think it's actually on Kickstarter. And so obviously there's still room for some successful Kickstarters, but I think the trick here is that it's about the product. You really need to get your product, define your product and show your product in a way that will be absolutely, irresistible. And they did that. And then the other thing is take a pie in the sky, in this case, take a pie in the sky product and distill it to something that's manageable, right? let's not try to do Dick Tracy watch from day one. But so no microphone, you can't talk to it. But let's distill it down to something actually useful and simple to use. And if you use your Pebble, you know this. It's not a complicated device. Once you set it up, it's there, and it just notifies you of all the notifications you want, and then it happens to have a bunch of other things you can do. But ultimately, it's a watch that we just kind of drag kicking and screaming into the 21st century, not some kind of like sci-fi space alien craziness. And I think the cooler is a good example. Everybody knows what a cooler is, but nobody's ever happy with their cooler. I mean, I don't know, I'm not a big camping person, but I do not know a single person that has pointed to me at their cooler in the same way as they pointed to me at their phone or at their car and said, this is the best cooler I have ever had. This is amazing. Buy it now. And so these guys saw an opportunity. They're like, well, why don't we make a cooler that takes into account all the things people do during a normal camping or, tailgating trip? And they were smart, and that's probably why it's successful. But I still think that, going back to your question, I think this crowdfunding thing, your chances today of having a successfully crowdfunded product are very low because there's a bit of fatigue. Too many products that are not well defined, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so the end result is that, in our case, we just happen to be in the right place at the right time, and it just perfect storm. So I think the trick is that if you're gonna do something like that today, wearables is very saturated. You know how it is. Like, look, when apps came out on phones, everybody made apps. It was super popular, right? But now, like, it's really hard to make money on apps because everybody's making apps. Anyone can make an app. It's so easy. So I think that's, I wouldn't say anybody can make a wearable. It's so easy. That's actually the problem. It's hard to make a good wearable. And so the established players are already there, right? We've got Google, we've got Apple, we've got Pebble. And that's it, right? I mean, when I say Google, that includes Samsung and LG and Motorola and all the manufacturers are going to make Android Wear devices. So I think you have to define a genre and ecosystem, and we just happen to be again the same place at the place at the right time. And I don't know if it's going to happen again.
So okay, so tell me. So all right, so I've got this Pebble, and for those of you out there who don't know what a Pebble watch is, can you talk about some of the apps that you have and some of the new different things that are available on Pebble today?
Sure thing. So the thing about Pebble you have to understand is there's multiple layers, if you want, of functionality in Pebble, right? At the very basic level, Pebble is a watch. When you get it out of the box, it's already on. It tells the time. You can charge it and it'll give you something like 15 days and not connected, like. It's a watch. It's waterproof. You can swim with it. You can go surfing. We have people doing snorkeling with it. So it's exactly everything. You can change the band. It's just a watch. Just happens to have a radio on it, like a Bluetooth connection, and that instantly turns into something more and interesting and better. And so that's the first layer. You got a watch. It's nice. It comes in different colors. We have a metal one and a plastic one. You change the bands. Great. Second layer is notification. You connect it to your phone, and all of a sudden, whoa, a whole new universe you've never seen on a watch opens up. And this universe is the one that is, at first, seems like unintuitive because you're like, well, I have a phone in my pocket. I hear it vibrate. I pull it out. What's the big deal? I'll give you an example what the big deal is. You're holding a big box you pulled out of your trunk. Your phone's in your bag on your shoulder. You're expecting something important. Now Pebble you can just like look, glance while you're still holding the box, glance at the watch and see that it's an IM or text or a phone call from your spouse or your boss, and right away what's going on without even having to touch the watch or touch your phone. That's very powerful. The other example is you're at dinner, and you unfortunately have a job that requires you to stay connected, but you're trying to have a nice little time with your partner. And you don't want to deal with interruptions, but at the same time, being able to just glance at the watch when you get something and ignore most of it, and then perhaps not miss that important, email from a business partner in Hong Kong because it's that time of day where you have to be live, is a powerful thing. And so this is kind of a very simple layer. It's the whole concept of notifications. And so people think, okay, email, IM, text, and phone calls, but it goes way beyond that. Any app you have on your phone, and to be clear, Pebble is compatible with both iOS and Android phones, so you don't have to choose. You can be, any of the popular phones today will work with it. And when something pops up on the top of your screen, it doesn't matter what it is, even if it's like saying your Uber cab has arrived or whatever, it'll pop. It can be set up to pop up on your watch, and that's very powerful. So you can filter what goes on the watch and what stays on your phone and vice versa. So that's the second layer. The third layer is the whole concept that goes well with the customization, the fact that we sell different colors, that the watch bands are standard. You can go to any store and put a normal 22mm watch band on a Pebble. That third layer is customizing the watch face. So the thing that tells time, the display that tells time on your Pebble can be changed to do anything. You can tell the weather, it can tell stocks at the same time as the time. It can look like a Hello Kitty watch face. It can look like, basically, if you have something you're into, you can find a watch face out there. But the best part is not that you can just find one. We have a website called watch face generator, and if you go to that website, you can create your own watch face right on your phone. You can take a selfie of yourself or a picture of your cat or a picture of your cousin or your baby, and you can say where you want the time and the date. You push a button and it appears on your watch instantly from your phone right there and then. That is customization. That's powerful. So that's the third layer. The fourth layer, and that's where it gets a little more advanced. Not everybody that has an iPhone or an Android phone has apps on it. Some people choose to, very happy with just doing what's out of the box. Maybe they'll install Facebook and Twitter, but nothing else. We have an app store, and we have apps. And you're going to say, well, what does that mean exactly? Well, so the whole universe of apps means that if you don't like the alarm clock that's built into your Pebble, you can get an alarm clock on the app store that's better, more powerful, supports multiple alarms at different days of the week and times that do different things. For example, if you like Yelp, you're a pretty frequent Yelper and you like to discover new places to eat, you install the Yelp app. Instead of pulling out your phone, opening the Yelp app, and then it has to figure out where you are, and then it takes a little while, and you go find a place that's open now nearby, blah, blah. You have to set all this stuff, and by the time you've done all this, it's already been 20 seconds. With a Yelp app on the watch, you just shake your watch, and it finds a random place nearby. It gives you the rating on it. You can say, okay, I want to go there, or not. It takes 2 seconds. If you don't like what you see, shake again, and you get another place nearby. And so this is we're trying to take these microscopic, we call them, basically little moments of awesome, and put them on your wrist. Things that on your phone are really great, but could be done in a second or two on your watch without having to pull out your phone. And so the apps are kind of a more advanced thing, but they really give you a lot of functionality. And the whole thing about apps is that we have about 3,200 plus now on the App Store. It's quite a few, and they're all very good. We have a lot of games. It turns out people love games. And because our watches has a black and white screen, and people are always asking about that, so let me clarify why. Wearables today are, as much as Dick Tracy Sky is all great, there is a lot of technical limitations that people are not aware of. The fact that our battery life lasts about a week when you're connected to your phone is on purpose. It's a very long battery life for a device like that. And the reason for that is because we have a screen that's black and white. It's not quite the same, but very similar to the screen on your Kindle. So it doesn't draw any energy when it's just still. When it changes, it draws energy. So it makes the battery in the watch last a long, long time. And so the other advantage it has is that if you're in bright sunlight, which is a very common scenario when you're wearing a watch, with your phone, you're likely to be indoors in your car, or maybe you can find some shade to hide the display so you can read it better. With a watch, you're going to be in circumstances that are very tricky, and so having a display you can read in daylight, in bright sunlight, especially here in California, is a huge deal. So we made that choice on purpose. But the display looks very kind of Game Boyish in that sense, and I think that's why games are very popular on our platform, because it kind of reminds people of these old games from the very simple games. Anybody can play them. We actually have a Flappy Bird thing called Tiny Bird. I don't know if you're familiar with Flappy Bird. It was a bit of a phenomenon a few months ago. Took the video game world by storm on phones. So, that's kind of what the App Store is all about. It's enhancing the basic functionality, adding some pizzazz and fun, and making it more useful. Like there are apps to control your Nest thermostat. There are apps to control your GoPro. So if you're skiing, you can hit a button on your watch and it starts recording on all the GoPros. And you have gloves on, you all bundled up. You don't want to pull out your phone at that point. That's the stuff we're talking about.
Right. That's awesome. And I know you've got some new styles.
Yeah, I'm wearing one here.
I want to see some of these new styles, and then I want you to answer, let the audience know where they can get a Pebble,
sure,
and how they can get in touch with you.
For sure. So I need to speak here. So Hangout on Air is not gonna detect me if I'm not speaking, right? I don't know if it's doing it right now.
No, I see you.
Do you see the watches?
Yeah.
So I got these 3 new colors, which are really quite awesome. They're very pastel and very candy colors. The pink one is called Hot Pink. The green one is called Fresh Green, and the blue one is called Fly Blue. And again, these are the first watches we made that have matching colors for the bands. But again, remember the bands are standard bands that can be interchanged, and these are limited edition. Are available only on our website until we run out. So let me tell you about Pebble. There's 2 models. The one I just showed you is made of plastic, and originally came and still comes in black, white, and red. And then we voted on colors 2 years ago online, and people chose gray and orange. And so all of these have been around for about almost 2 years now. Black, white, red, gray, and orange have been around for about a year and a half or so on our website, and we just added these 3 new colors, the pink, blue, and green. And these are all the same watches. They're made of plastic. They're $150 on our website. Then we have a metal one, a fancier, smaller metal watch called Pebble Steel, and that's $250, also on our website. It comes in a stainless, shiny silver color, and in a matte black, very, very, distinguished, refined, and elegant. If you're wearing that James Bond suit, it's kind of the perfect watch for you. So those are like the 2 watches: $250 Pebble Steel, two choice of colors, and $150 classic original Pebble, which comes now in, I get 8 colors, which include the new ones. But those new ones are going to go away very rapidly. You can buy them on our website. Our website is getpebble.com, like our name, but get a Pebble, getpebble.com. But here's the other thing. If you don't want the fancy colors that are limited editions, you can walk into Best Buy and Target and buy our watches. You can walk also into an AT&T store and buy our watches. And you can walk into Amazon. Well, you're not going to walk into Amazon, but you can go onto your friendly Amazon website. You can dive into that website and order our watches as they're there as well. Now, the steel, the metal one, is not available at all these retailers that I've cited. I think it's only Best Buy because it is a bit of a premium product. But again, you can get it on our website. We ship worldwide, so if you have a friend in Hong Kong or in anywhere in the world really, you can have them enjoy a Pebble as well. And so that's generally in the gist of it, where you can find the product and what it's about.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Myriam. I really appreciate you being on the show. If anybody is interested in Pebble, getpebble.com. Otherwise, if you want to see this show or any other show, follow us at hilarytopper.com, Hilary with 1 L. I have a YouTube channel, and this is always available on YouTube, so share it with your friends. And if you want to get in touch with me, just check out HJMT.com. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a great week.